You're in a classroom and you're learning about something that interests you, perhaps something that you're passionate about. So you start to engage with that topic and you start to have your own ideas, and for the moment, you're genuinely enjoying the process of intellectual exploration. There are some people who find this process to be pointless or even threatening. An anti-intellectual believes that intellectual interests are, put bluntly, a waste of time. Some may go as far as to say that intellectual interests are detrimental to society, and will go to great lengths to convince them that they are not needed. Professor Dane S. Clausen of Thiel College in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, wrote a report called A Brief Theory of Anti-Intellectualism in American Media. It focuses on media coverage of higher education and connects it to anti-intellectualism. In it, he breaks down anti-intellectualism into three types. The first is termed as religious anti-rationalism, which is defined as the view that emotion is warm, while reason is cold. The second is populist anti-elitism, defined as public skepticism of the upper class or old money. We're not going to talk about those two today because they're their own creatures to explore at a different time perhaps, but I want to focus on the third type, unreflective instrumentalism. Clausen describes it as the beliefs and behavior that indicate that knowledge is ultimately worthless unless it is for material gain. Essentially, if it doesn't give me money, I don't want to hear it. If the goal of life is to make money, as it is for many people, according to Forbes, then anything that does not benefit this end is a waste of time. And that's fine. That's a justifiable opinion to have. So what's the problem here? Well, let's look at our schools. You're in a classroom, and you're learning about something that piques your intellectual interest. If you display too much interest, your environment does not reward you but ridicules you. Some people will tell you that you should stop asking so many questions, that we're just here to do the work and just go home, get good grades maybe, whatever. As a result, intellectual and inquisitive children grow up feeling that they're out of place. They think, I am an anomaly. They internalize it. They start to think, I wish I weren't so smart. And they grow up and they follow not their passions, but the expectations of those around them, leaving their potential and intellectual pursuits behind them. They submit, they resign, they say, I do what they say I do. And we know this. We know the effects that consistent criticism can have on people's images of themselves. We, as a society, have been able to ensure everyone knows that racism and sexism have no place in determining the educations and career choices of any individual. We as a society are capable of seeing how anti-intellectualism can be a problem for our younger generation, choosing for them their educations and career paths. We, as a society, can fix it just as we have fixed it before. Yet, anti-intellectualism continues to permeate society and education. Why? Professor Clausen blames the media primarily. From his studies of various media publications since the 1940s, he found that media coverage of intellectual pursuits in higher education focused primarily on high tuition and complaints about useless degrees. Others, such as Time, reported that the purpose of liberal arts education is not to produce productive workers, but well-rounded citizens. As a result, many see the study of research and the arts solely as a liability on socioeconomic productivity, and the pursuits of the intellectual studying them as worthless. Parents will then tell their children to focus on the useful degrees, the degrees that increase their wealth regardless of their passion for it. Perhaps, with the proper encouragement in education through reform of the media portrayal of higher liberal arts and humanities education, these students would have gone on to become the next great thinkers of society, akin to the Enlightenment and thinkers of the 1600s. These thinkers picked us up as humans at a time when we needed intellectuals to steer our course of social and political reform, when corruption was high and social mobility low. We now live in a world that's radically different from the ones that our previous great thinkers architected our societies around. If these students were allowed, they would have gone on to move us forward. They would have gone on to find solutions to humanity's increasing number of problems, to enhance justice and class parity and ethnic coexistence in a world rife with globalization yet full of tensions. We need intellectuals to meet this goal, to ensure society changes with the times. But if we continue to encourage our prospective intellectuals to abandon their pursuits in favor of chasing material when they do not want to, then we are in for dark times ahead, as society stagnates without anyone to move it forward.